वृत्तिम् अधाधानम् पुंसां मनोनयननिवृत्तिम् अधाधानम् कण्ठं च कौस्तुभामणेरादिभूषणार्थम् कण्ठं च कौस्तुभामणेरादिभूषणार्थम् कुर्यन्मनस्याखिलालोकनमस्कृतस्य कुर्यन्मनस्या अखिलालोकनमस्कृतस्य वक्षोदिवासं वृषभस्य महाविभूतेः पुंसां मनोनयननिवृत्तिम् अदादानम् कण्ठं च कौस्तुभामणेरादिभूषणार्थम् कुर्यन्मनस्याखिललोक नमस्कृतस्य. Word by word meaning. Vaksha, the chest. Adivasam, the abode. Rishabhasya, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Mahavibhuteha, of Mahalakshmi. Pumsam, of persons. Manaha, the mind, to the mind. Nayana, to the eyes. Nivritim, transcendental pleasure. Adadanam, bestowing. Kantham, the neck. Cha, also. Kaustubha maneha, of the Kaustubha gem. Adibhushanardham, which enhances the beauty. Kuryat, he should meditate on. Manasi, in the mind. Akila Loka, by the entire universe. Namaskrutasya, who is adored. Translation and purport given by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The yogi should then meditate on the chest of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the abode of Goddess Mahalakshmi. The Lord's chest is the source of all transcendental pleasure for the mind and full satisfaction for the eyes. The yogi should then imprint on his mind the neck of the personality of Godhead, who is adored by the entire universe. The neck of the Lord serves to enhance the beauty of the Kaustubha gem, which hangs on his chest. Purport. In the Upanishads, it is said that the various energies of the Lord are working to create, destroy, and maintain. These inconceivable varieties of energy are stored in the bosom of the Lord. As people generally say, God is all powerful. That prowess is represented by Mahalakshmi, the reservoir of all energies, who is situated on the bosom of transcendental form of the Lord. The yogi who can meditate perfectly on that spot, on the transcendental form of the Lord, can derive many material powers, which comprise the 8 perfections of yoga system. It is stated herein that the beauty of the neck of the Lord enhances the beauty of the Kaustubha gem rather than vice versa. The gem itself becomes more beautiful because it is situated on the neck of the Lord. The yogi is therefore recommended to meditate upon the Lord's neck. The Lord's transcendental form can either be meditated upon in the mind or placed in the temple in the form of a statue and decorated in such a way that everyone can contemplate it. Temple worship is therefore meant for persons who are not so advanced that they can meditate upon the form of the Lord. There is no difference between constantly visiting the temple and directly seeing the transcendental form of the Lord. They are equal value. The advantageous position of the yogi is that he can sit anywhere in a solitary place and meditate upon the form of the Lord. A less advanced person, however, has to go to the temple, and as long as he does not go to the temple, he is unable to see the form of the Lord either by hearing, seeing, or meditating. The objective is the transcendental form of the Lord. There is no question of wideness or impersonalism. The Lord can bestow the blessings of transcendental pleasure upon the visitor of the temple, the meditator, yogi, or one who hears about the Lord's transcendental form from the scriptures like the Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita. There are 9 processes of executing devotional service, of which Smaranam or meditation is one. Yogis take advantages of the process of Smaranam, whereas Bhakti Yogis take special advantage of the process of hearing and chanting. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. So here Kapiladeva is explaining how to meditate on the Supreme Lord. In this chapter, in the beginning of the slokas, Kapiladeva explained Yama Niyama, what to do and what not to do. And then he is explaining how to meditate on the Supreme Lord. He started with the lotus feet of the Lord and then slowly describing and explaining how to meditate on each part of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Here in this verse, Kapil Deva is explaining 2 parts, Vaksha and Kantam. And is glorifying so wonderfully. Vakshodivasam Rishabhasya Mahavibhuteha. All vibhutis are sitting on the Vaksha of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So here Mahalakshmi is sitting. Mahalakshmi is the source of all energies. Mahalakshmi is the source of Halladini Shakti. Lord has 3 Shaktis. Shandani, Samvit, and Halladini. So here Mahalakshmi is representing the powers of energies. And where that powers are sitting? On the Vaksha of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, on the chest. And Kantam Chak, and also here Srila Prabhupada is explaining the yogis who can meditate perfectly on this spot on the transcendental form of the Lord can derive many material powers, which comprise the 8 perfections of yoga system. So there are so many Ashtanga Yoga, Anima, Lagima, Mahima, like that. There are 8 kinds of powers. How yogi will get? Not just sitting idle or not meditating on the void. Yogi will get because he is meditating on the chest of the Lord, and which is the abode of all powers. Because the yogi is meditating on the chest of the Lord.
Prabhuji, we don't hear you. Suddenly voice, no voice.
Hare Krishna. Is other people are able to hear me?
Now we can hear you.
Okay. So, because Mahalakshmi is sitting on the chest of the Lord, and the chest of the Lord is described as the abode of all powers. So, because yogi is meditating on that powerful place of the Lord, and yogi can get all these Ashtanga Yogi Siddhis, Anima, Lagima, Mahima, Siddhi, Prapti, all the stuff. Otherwise, he cannot get it. And then here Kapila is slowly going upward. He's explaining the beauty of the kantha, that beauty of the neck. The Supreme Personality of Godhead wears a special gem called Kaustuba jewel. Usually, this Kaustuba jewel is itself is very beautiful, but after wearing that jewel, and jewel's beauty got increased. Usually, we all wear different kinds of ornaments, especially Matajis, to increase, to enhance their beauty. By wearing the jewelry, the person's beauty will be increased. But here, it is opposite. By wearing this Kaustuba jewel, Kaustuba jewel's beauty got increased. Why? Because already the Supreme Lord's neck is so beautiful. Okay, so, and we need to meditate on the neck. So, whoever want to progress in devotional service, they has to meditate on the Supreme Lord. Initially, when the devotee is in initial stage, it's recommended to meditate on the Archa Vigraha, or the physical form or the deity form of the Supreme Lord in the temple, so that we can contemplate it, how Lord's beauty it is. We need to relish the beauty of the Lord. We need to start from the lotus feet, and then slowly, we need to meditate on each and every part of the Lord. Srila Prabhupada mentioned deity worship is mandatory for grahasthas. Why? Because what is the opportunity of meditating on the Supreme Lord to the grahastha? Grahastha is fully engaged with the material activities. He is not going and sitting on a solitary place, and he is not meditating on the Supreme Lord for years and years. If a grahastha is not engaged in deity worship, he is assured that positively falls down. That means he will not progress in Krishna consciousness. He will not progress in his bhakti. Either at home or in the temple, a grahastha must worship a deity. Why? Because what what makes you to meditate deity worship? If you are doing deity worship means you are indirectly meditating on the Supreme Lord. Suppose we are all there in the temple for Mangalarati or Darshanarati or Shainarati. We all very attentive. Uh, from the pujari to all the kirtan team and all the whoever is in the temple hall, everybody is very attentive. Everybody is very anxiety to open curtain on time, to take darshan, and the pujari is very anxiety. How he want to decorate the deity, whether he is missing anything or anything else he need to do. The kirtan team is anxiety to start the kirtan, and darshan people whoever is in the temple hall, their anxiety to see what kind of dress today deity is going to wear and how he is going to give darshan to me, and their anxiety to talk about the Supreme Lord, to talk their personal talks to the Supreme Lord. So in that way, automatically we can connect, we can meditate on the Supreme Lord. Srila Prabhupada says that if you don't have a deity worship, how can you bring the discipline? How can you meditate from morning to evening? Simply you'll sleep up to 9 o'clock and be a lazy dog. If you have a deities at home or in the temple, the discipline will come automatically. Whoever worship the deities with utmost respect and utmost cleanliness, automatically they can attach to the Supreme Lord. Srila Prabhupada further says that whoever adopting this deity worship, they can easily give up attraction and attachment towards the material activities, especially lust. Lust is a very dangerous element. People can easily give up other things, all bad habits and bad things, but giving up lust is very, very difficult. But one who start worshipping the deity at home or in the temple, automatically one can give up this lust and he can attach it to the Supreme Personality of Godhead very easily, naturally, without any force or without any um, additional support. Yeah. So that's why Srila Prabhupada is saying that visiting the temple directly every day and meditating on the Supreme Lord, both are equal. Both are equal. And further, Srila Prabhupada is saying that reading the scriptures is also as equal as meditating on the Supreme Lord. How? What we are describing in whole Srimad Bhagavatam, we are talking about the Guna, Rupa, Leela of the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his devotees. So we are indirectly meditating on the Supreme Lord. Of course, some of the religions, they don't worship the deity form, but they worship the scriptures. So even by reading the scriptures, which is as equal as meditating on the Supreme Lord. So here in this verse, we can meditate the Supreme Lord in three ways. You are a very advanced yogi, you are able to control your senses, you are able to tolerate all your urges, all your desires, and you have a facility to go to a forest and sitting in a Ashtanga yoga, sit and meditate on the form of the Supreme Lord, Manomaya Vigraha. So, in the mind, you are worshipping, you are meditating on the form. And that is one way of worship, one way of meditating. The second one is worship the deity and meditate on the deity. Srila Prabhupada established a wonderful deity worship system in our Sampradaya, in our ISKCON. Nobody can compete the deity worship standards and the decoration of the deity as compared to our temple worship. Srila Prabhupada made it very clear. We need to worship the deity with topmost standards. So the second one is, if you worship deity, automatically you will meditate. So you can, if you are a pujari or if you have a home deities, you can meditate very easily. You can connect very easily by seeing that the chest and by neck and by face, all these bodily parts from the starting from lotus feet. And the third way of meditating on the Supreme Lord is reading the scriptures, discussing the scriptures. This Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, as equal as meditating Ashtanga Yogi. We are meditating on his Leelas. Whole day we will remember. Whole life we will remember. What is the Narsimha Leela? What is the Krishna Leela? What is the Rama Leela? All these things. So, as a Grahastha, we need to worship the deity and read the Srimad Bhagavatam and all that stuff. Srila Prabhupada mentioned in another place, Brahmachari should help sannyasis in the preaching. Grahasthas should engage in the deity worship in the temple. And Vanaprasthas should get ready for their next stage sannyas ashrama. So that everybody, all four ashramas, properly engaged. Our acharyas are emphasized many places about this deity worship or meditating on the Supreme Lord. Even if you take our morning Mangalarati song, Sri Vigraharadana Nutyanana Srungaratan Mandiramarjanado Yuktasya Bhaktam Cha Niyanjatopi Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam. So, Acharyas are showing us how to worship the deities, and they're asking us how to, they're teaching us and they're training us how to worship the deities, how to dress and how to put a beautiful clothes and ornaments and offer obeisances. All those things they were training so nicely. And Srila Prabhupada mentioned in one time, some rich man, if they have a good amount of money, they will construct the temple and they will engage paid pujari for the worship. Srila Prabhupada did not encourage that kind of system. Paid pujari will not have the same inclination as you. as a Brahmana, as a advanced devotee. So instead, you yourself need to be engaged in the deity worship, not paying someone and appoint them and make them worship. No, everybody, every householder should worship a deity so that our devotional service will keep progressing very constantly. Sannyasis may not have this opportunity because they will travel every day. They may not be able to participate in deity worship, but they can easily meditate on the Supreme Lord through their preachings or through their mind. They can easily focus. They are very advanced. But grahasthas must be engaged in deity worship to remember Krishna all the time. Why? Because in the temple we consider deity as the king. So if king is coming, we all be very attentive. All the soldiers, all the ministers, all the assembly people, everybody will be attentive and they will focus on the king. Automatically, king will draw attention of all the audience. Similarly, the deity worship will draw attention of everyone. Not only the devotees, even neophytes, even less than the Kanistadikaris. They can easily connect with the deities. So that's why the deity worship is highly recommended for grahasthas and whoever is starting the devotional service. If you are doing proper deity worship in the temple, automatically deities will attract millions of people. So if you see in India, there are so many Vishnu temples like Lord Balaji. They do very gorgeous worship, all costly items. And automatically, every day, millions of people will come and take darshan of Lord Balaji. Sri Rangam. Sri Rangam is huge temple. Like I never seen that much big temple campus in my life. And their worship is also very high standard. So if you worship the deities, automatically they will attract whole world. One time Srila Prabhupada went to Mexico and their devotees served prasadam. Srila Prabhupada told that prasadam is horrible. Deity worship is not up to the standard. If you don't do proper deity worship and proper cooking, proper consciousness of prasadam distribution, you will not be able to progress in Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada strongly told that. That's why we have a very strong deity worship, even though we tell chanting is the topmost and Sankirtan is topmost and reading is the books is topmost, but deity worship also as equal as topmost because we are associating with so many people as a grahasthas in this material world. By taking darshan of the deities, we will get energy and we will get regenerate in our bhakti process. So thank you very much. Over to Madhupati Prabhuji.
Prabhu is on the altar. You can finish it, Prabhu.
Okay. So thank you very much for joining today's Srimad Bhagavatam session. Please keep joining every day. So please meditate on our upcoming festival, Ram Navami. We'll we wish you a very, very happy Krishna conscious a day ahead for all of you. To remove all our obstacles, we will chant Ugram Viram for 3 times and then Vaishnava prayers, and then we'll wind up the session. Ugram Viram Mahavishnum Jwalantam Sarvatomukham Narasimham Bhishanam Badram Murtyor Namamyaham. Ugram Viram Mahavishnum Jwalantam Sarvatomukham Narasimham Bhishanam Badram Murtyor Namamyaham. Ugram Viram Mahavishnum Jwalantam Sarvatomukham Narasimham Bhishanam Badram Murtyor Namamyaham. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. All Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Samvedana Vrinda ki jai.
Jai.
We'll see you tomorrow, Srimad Bhagavatam class. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.